Susan and Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Susan, for early adopters, what are the key things that they need to be doing for success?
We all know that all technology projects really benefit from executive support. It's a really good thing to move through blockers and to have commitment to succeed. But the way I would phrase it is the time for technical experimentation is really 2023. Like, that's over. That's an old game. And so in today's day and age, you need to be very, very focused on those business outcomes. And then from there, with that hypothesis of value, really put all the wood behind those arrows to really execute. So at Dreamforce, like, one of the things that usually happens for me when I'm talking to customers is I expect they'll have a lot of questions about what they saw on the stage, and I need to unpack it for them. That did not happen this year. Everyone walked away and said, I get it. It was demonstrable and I want it. And then the question we often get is, how do we think of this in connection with existing investments we've made? And what are those natural points of integration, whether it's process or other technology decisions that bring it all together? So executive support, a hypothesis of value, and then mindful in terms of how it's playing into the enterprise.
And Ben, this next question for you, what strategies are proving to be most effective?
I think it actually is starting with that process. It's to say, not everything starts with GenAI or AI. It starts with, It starts with that process. And if you try to build intelligence off a broken process, you're not going to get very far. And so really actually being process-led and strategy-led there. And then ultimately bringing together your stakeholders. I know Susan said having the executive support, but what we're seeing from some of our research is drastically different expectations across technology teams and business teams in both the investments that they want to put in, as well as the return that they expect to see out of it. Not to mention the readiness that they see. It's funny for a sales organization to say, we're ready for Gen AI, only to be saying, an IT organization, we've got to work on the data and the infrastructure there.
And Susan, from a product perspective, what innovations at Salesforce are you most excited about?
Agentforce. So the product launch that we did today was so impactful in terms of our next step in the frontier of generative AI. When we launched 18 months ago, it was very deliberately around human in the loop and employee facing. And with the stuff that we've built out with our AI automation and our reasoning engine, which we call Atlas, and some of the techniques that we have for putting guardrails and process around it is really unlocking all sorts of capacity in terms of the ability for people to go aggressively with AI. And not just in terms of more use cases for their employees, but to take this stuff externally to their customers with these agentic or these autonomous applications.
Thank you so much.